Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's do a quick market overview. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, but let's just do a couple tickers and see what we see. First, we're going to start with SPY. SPY finally gave us that little bit of a pullback that we were looking for last week. We didn't quite get to the 402 level that I was looking for, but we did have some slight pullback. So that's kind of a good sign because we know everything that runs like it's been running definitely needs a break. So we're starting to get into like what this break for SPY is going to look like. So let's walk through what happened last week on SPY, and then we'll kind of see what the possibilities are for the upcoming week. Last week, we did kind of fluctuate between the 410, 408 level all the way up to 416. And we just couldn't get back above 416 this week at all. Like no matter what, we kept getting stopped there. Then we started to see some selling pressure at that 416 level, pushed us back down to 410. It seemed like we stayed between 408 and 410 for quite some time. But we finally, on Thursday, got the breakdown that a lot of bears have been looking for. So Thursday's daily candle, we broke below our support, which was around 409, 408. And not only did we break that support, but we also closed below the 9 EMA. So closing below that 9 EMA is definitely a slightly bearish sign. It doesn't mean that we're going to fall or tank or anything yet. We don't have that indication yet, but we do see that sellers are stepping in and bulls are kind of stepping to the side. So where we are at right now is we are broken that 9 EMA, but we're still above the 21. So being above that 21, we'll make that our next slight target. So that's at about 404. You kind of want to play level to level until you get some real clear confirmation that you're above or below something. So our next stop would be the 21 EMA. In the case that we break through that, the next major stop will be right at 400, which is funny because 400 is a very strong support level, but it's also where our 200 EMA is. So that's what I'm looking for on SPY. Maybe a pullback to 400, and then we'll see whether we bounce or continue downward to the next levels, which will give us like the 397 into the 393 level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for this week. Also, a big note on SPY is that CPI is on Tuesday morning. So Tuesday at 8:30, the CPI data will be released and the market will react drastically. So if you have swings on SPY or any tickers, you definitely want to be careful with that to make sure that you are not getting caught up in the CPI release. All right, let's take a quick look at Tesla. This is a Tesla daily chart. And as we all know, Tesla has been running straight up all year long. On Thursday, it got as high as $214, and that's where we saw reversal. That level was also our 200 EMA on the daily chart. So what happened is we went right to that level and got a rejection candle on Thursday where everything was kind of falling, and it kind of gave indication to swing some puts on Tesla. So even though we did have this pullback, we are still above the 9 EMA. So that's something to keep in mind. That definitely would be the next price target, which is at about 190. That next level, that 9 EMA, is also at our support level, which is 189 to 190. So that's the next level to watch. In the case that we break below 189 and we hold below this level here, then we can kind of see some movement down into this level where we might go as low as 181. And even going to 181, we're still way above the 21 EMA. So if we were to actually just go from 9 EMA to 21 EMA, we would be going as low as like 172. So we'll be going as low as like 172. So that's some things to look forward. Tesla's going to be a good watch, especially if it does give us this downtrend. If we can break 189, go down to test the 178 level, which is our next support level down under here. And below that, we will look for a touch of the 21 EMA, which is about 171, 172. So definitely some good movement to the downside available for Tesla. So those are the levels for the downside. For the upside, we have to get back above 200. 200 is just a strong level for Tesla, and we have to get back above it. There's no way around it right now. So getting back above 200 will be step one for Tesla to go back to test these highs. A lot of times when we reject a level like this, it just comes down, takes a break, gets stronger, then breaks it. That's something we have to watch out for. So definitely prepare for both sides of Tesla. This is probably like my favorite setup going into next week, just because there's so much possibility on both sides. So let's talk about Meta. Meta is on my watch list just because of that earnings gap, that huge $30 gap up from earnings. We've already started to fill that gap. So we had some chop. The support from the gap up was at about 182, 183. So I had an alert there. As you can see, we bounced off of that level, but we continued to make lower highs. On Thursday, when everything was kind of sliding, it pushed Meta right below our support level that we had created from earnings. and they gave us confirmation to swing into the next day. We swung right into that 9 EMA on Friday, so we kind of closed slightly below it, but you can see we also have a support here at 172, so that's going to be the next thing. Can we get a candle that can break this 9 EMA and 172, and it'll let us go down to our next level. So the next level down on Meta, in the case that we do break the 9 EMA here and this support level at 172, is going to be right on these EMAs. So the yellow is the 200 EMA and the blue is our 21. And this level is right at about 160. So that's a really nice downside on Meta if we can get back to the 160 level. And the other thing is, if we do have a bounce, like if we somehow hold the 9 EMA and we bounce, we know that our next level up is going to be that 182, 183 resistance. So it was previous support because that's where our candle opened from the gap up and it held that support. And now that we're below it, it's now our resistance level. So we're going to look for calls if we get a bounce and confirmation back to the 183 level. And puts would go down below to 160-ish. Don't look for a straight candle down. Look for some smaller bounces here and there. But either way, if we do get a close, like a full candle to close below this level, 160 should definitely be up next. The last ticker that we're going to review is Netflix. Netflix has this weird looking channel that it's been playing around with. For earnings, it did gap up and it broke above the channel. But since then, we've kind of been just chopping. There's been good intraday movement and some quick trades, quick swings from day to day, but it looks like we've gone and finally gotten back into this channel. This channel dates back to October of 2022, and it's kind of acted as a resistance level. So breaking above it and not being able to hold it is a really good sign. Another really good sign is this candle that printed on Friday. That candle printed and it closed below our 9 and our 21 EMAs. So it already just knocked out two places that it could bounce. So right now we're looking for a pullback down to the 135 level. That's the next support level. So here you can see 135 was the resistance. Couldn't break it. Finally broke it, and now we have to face that level again as support. So getting back to 335 is the next level for Netflix to the downside. This is definitely a good setup to watch going into next week because that candle did already break two of the EMAs. So unless we somehow break and hold above the 21 or the 9, then we need to just go ahead and expect some downside here to 335. If 335 does break, then you look at your next EMA, and that's the 50. And I would expect some tension at the 50. The 50 is right at the 328 level. So 328 is our second price target. 335 is our first price target to the downside. The upside level for Netflix is 368. Let me put a level there. So we can see that resistance level was held here, and we have a false breakout of 368 there. So it's always important to make sure you use your trend lines and your horizontal support and resistance, and that way you can get the next levels a lot easier and you won't get stuck in any trades that hit levels that you don't have plotted. So for the upside, our next target would be back to 368 to see if it can break and go above. Our downside target is 335. So this is actually a really good setup on Netflix. I'll definitely watch that. I really wanted to keep it short this week, so we have 4 tickers to watch with some really good setups. Netflix, Meta, and Tesla are my favorite, and SPY is always just going to be in there. Definitely thank you guys for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.